Okie dokie. Welcome back, everyone. Another fine day for extinction. It's a good day for extinction. All right, let's keep going. Get some more debates, more discussions, and hopefully some more activists. Right? The victims need us to actually do activism and to help them, not to simply, watch entertainment and to have fun. Right? Hopefully, if you're watching these streams and my videos, you're actually thinking about how you can help the victims and the sufferers as well. That's the ideal situation, right? Is if people actually help those who are suffering instead of just talking about it and thinking about it. The thing is that in order to help all of those who are suffering in the world, we need a lot of people to be able to help, right? If we're going to do a revolution and take over the world or take over the government, we need people who are going to say, yeah, I'm ready, right? Call on me and I will come and I will help, basically. But ideally, we need those people to also be doing activism, to be making videos, to be talking to people, to be growing the movement so that we can end all suffering with total extinction. So, until we do this, there's just the extreme suffering and abuse and cruelty is just going to continue on forever. So we have to have a zero tolerance policy on extreme suffering and unsafe conditions, right? Life existing without safety. We should have a zero tolerance policy on that. And so, that's never going to change, right? That's never going to go away. Conditions are never going to improve to the point where there is perfect safety. So the need for total safety is never going to go away. It's always going to be needed, right? Total safety is not something that you can just do without. And so the need for extinction is always going to exist because it's about all types of suffering. It's about making sure that no animal, no human is suffering from anything. Right, from any type of extreme suffering. And so, again, the need for extinction, the need for prevention of suffering is always going to exist, until we've done it, basically. So this is never going away, right? This idea that nobody should suffer is never going to suddenly stop. We're never going to get bored of caring about those who are suffering, right? It's never going to stop until the suffering stops, right? The help for those who are suffering should never go away until they don't need help anymore. Hello, how you doing?
Hello, I'm okay, I guess.
Yeah, do you have any questions?
Yeah, so you're saying we need to, extinction is the only way we end all suffering.
Yeah.
So to me, that's like, let's say you have there's something wrong with your hand, and if you want to solve that issue, would you rather say, oh, just amputate your hand and there you solved your issue? No?
Yeah. I mean, if the hand is going to torture you, then yeah, get rid of it.
But there's you can find another ways to heal it without removing it. Of course, removing something.
How can you provide a guarantee of zero suffering without extinction?
Well, you cannot guarantee.
So do you think life should exist without safety? Do you think life should exist in unsafe conditions with danger?
No, well,
right,
no.
Right. So now you're getting it. That's it. You get it. So exactly, life should not exist in danger, and so extinction is the right thing to do.
But
in the same way that we try to make sure that children aren't born into the basement of a psychopath, even though actually we allow that. But in the same way you wouldn't hopefully want that, we shouldn't want life to exist in unsafe conditions where it's better off not existing. So extinction is the right thing to do.
We should try to do the best we can.
Why? For what? Yeah, for extinction, right? For preventing suffering. We should do the best we can for providing safety from suffering. And there is no better alternative than extinction, right? So that it wouldn't make sense to provide an inferior form of safety, right? That would be
You're referring to the extinction of all life or just humans?
Everything.
Yeah, so you're basically getting rid of everything, so there's nothing left. So there's, I mean, that's kind of...
Well, you're just proving that you care more about things existing than you care about safety. So your priorities are the wrong way around, right? You would rather there be something existing, even if it's being tortured, rather than there being nothing being tortured, right? So that's wrong. What matters more is safety from suffering. That is much more important than life existing. So right now people have it the wrong way around. They think that life should exist even if there's no safety, which just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, as I said, we can still do the best we can without like causing extinction.
But is it going to be good enough? No, right? So we shouldn't do the best we can if we know that it's not going to be good enough, and we know that there is a solution which is good enough.
How do you know it's not going to be good enough?
Because hypothetically, right, there is no way to provide safety for life, right? In theory, there is no way. In theory, there's no way to provide safety for life. It's physically impossible, scientifically impossible.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we just, like, if everything...
So why should anyone be forced to exist in danger? Do you think that's a good thing? Do you think it's good when that happens and they get tortured?
I don't think anybody should be forced to exist.
There you go, right? Exactly. Especially in danger where you can get tortured for your entire life. That should be obvious. So, yeah, the right thing to do is extinction to provide safety and to put a stop to all of the cruelty, the abuse, the exploitation, the violence, right? The aggression and the misery and the suffering.
Yeah, but how let's say, how would you accomplish this? This is like basically...
With activism, right? So we're growing the movement to accomplish it.
Oh, well, do you know that there's a lot of people in power who enjoy their life, who do not suffer, like, so they will never want to give off their...
Yeah, so we might have to do a revolution, take power from them. Potentially, right? That's not definitely the way it will go down. All options are on the table right now, but we are prepared to do a revolution.
I see. Well, if you look at history, it all comes down to just conflict and people fighting for power, and that's it. I mean,
yeah,
that's what it boils down to. So you have people who suffer and people who enjoy life, and there's always going to be conflict between those two sides. And maybe extinction would be the solution. However, I don't see it still happening, given there's been multiple revolutions, everything, and
but it's the only right thing to do. So it's the only right thing to do. It has the advantage of being the correct thing to do, right? So we should absolutely fight for what is right. We should fight for peace. We should fight for safety for the victims, right? And we shouldn't look for excuses to give up on them, right? So that's the wrong thing to do. What we should do... No, but we should try and help those who are suffering, and we shouldn't look for excuses. We should just help them.
Yeah, like, I agree, we should help them, but there's a lot of people who
are... But again, we shouldn't look for excuses for why we shouldn't help them.
I'm not looking for excuses.
We should try to help them, even if it's difficult, right? Even if it is difficult, we should still try to help them. We should still do the right thing.
We should try to help. We should try to solve this issue.
We should do the right thing, even if it's difficult.
I agree. But like I said, it's most likely we're most likely gonna fail. Like we're not.
So when you say you agree that we should do the right thing, even if it's difficult, and then you say, actually, I think we'll fail, there's a bit of a contradiction going on there, right? You're saying, yeah, we should do it even if it's difficult, and then you're saying, actually, it's too difficult, I can't be bothered to try.
No, I'm not saying.
So what's going on?
It's like kamikaze.
Anyway, Broken Angel, thank you for coming up. It's been good, but yeah, I think we've sort of reached the conclusion of that conversation. So moving on, we have Perla in the queue. Let's bring up Perla. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good. I just want to say thank you for spreading your message. I've been called crazy for believing that extinction is the best, but it is good to see that there are others who believe in what I believe in.
Great. And are you an activist as well?
Well, I would like to be, but since I have voiced those, my ideas, I was, put in a mental hospital on medication, and it's just provided more suffering, which, helps my idea even more.
Right, fair enough. Well, Perla, thank you for coming up, and I'm sorry that you've been suffering. Nobody deserves to suffer like that, to be locked away in a mental hospital or to have your freedom taken away. That sounds terrible, and we should make sure that that kind of suffering is impossible, right? Especially because it could be even worse for others, right? It could be infinitely bad. So we have to make all of it impossible, including when it's not so bad, when it is too bad, everything. Hello, how you doing? Yeah, Liz Carr, hello. Okay, maybe you joined by accident. Okay, moving on, we have Pazzy1 in the queue. We also have the Dommy, we have MyTuber. Let's get them up. Okay, bringing up the Dommy. Let's see if they'll load in. Yes, hello, how you doing?
Yeah,
Yeah, hi, do you have any questions for us today?
yeah. My only question is, what about the people that actually think suffering is something of a virtue or something that they enjoy,
Yeah,
perhaps? What do
they
you have to
are.
say with those people?
Yeah, well, they're wrong, aren't they? They're basically right. Suffering is not
But
actually a good thing.
that's, pardon me. Go ahead.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, well, they're wrong, aren't they? Right? Suffering isn't actually a good thing. It's not actually something you want. So if somebody says that they think suffering is good or they like suffering, then they're being crazy, basically, right? They're probably thinking about a different type of suffering. They're not really thinking about, all of the extreme suffering that they could be experiencing.
But that's the thing. Then it becomes something that is subjective, don't you think?
No, not at all. It's completely objective, actually. Yeah. So, we live in a material world, in the same way that you don't have free will. The world works deterministically. It works based on, cause and effect, and it's measurable. So, no, it's not subjective. People that want subjective morality are essentially just people that want to be immoral. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to understand your perspective, to be honest with you. So if there are like a group of people that think that certain, uh, let's say you're successful in what you're doing, and then
So no,
there
we're
remains
not
like a
we're not gonna respect anybody that enjoys suffering. Okay, we're gonna make them extinct as well, right? And anybody that is going out of their way to try and suffer, clearly they're completely insane, right? So extinction will definitely benefit them. It's the right thing to do.
that's all I have for today. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Dummy. Yeah, let's see who else we got. We have MyTuber. Let's bring them on next. I'm going to make you put out James. Please don't. Hello, how you doing?
Good. So, you're saying extinction ends all suffering. I'm presuming that you'd have yourself extinction as well. Is that true?
Yeah.
So, don't you enjoy the fact that your parents, made you and gave you life, all the relations you have, all the friendships you have? You'd happily just see that kind of never happened.
Well, we have to think responsibly, right? We have to think about safety and danger, essentially, right? We can't just think about the nice things because then you ignore all of the, responsibility that you should be doing.
Responsibility. How's it somebody's job to end suffering? Like, could you explain to me?
Okay, well, you just simply say, right, I'm going to do this, and then that's it.
Okay, so I presume I'm not gonna try and presume too much, but I think you have a pretty comfortable life, don't you? Would you agree with that?
Well, actually, it is wrong to make assumptions like that, right? In the same way that you probably assume that wild animals enjoy being eaten alive, you're making assumptions about people and their suffering and their conditions, which is completely based on nothing, right? Except for arrogance, ignorance, discrimination. So all these bad things are leading you to make assumptions about others, which you shouldn't.
Well, I mean, you're a handsome lad. You probably have a good-looking girlfriend.
But you have no idea,
Family.
right? So you're saying probably this, probably that. You're
I just
making
don't see
assumptions.
why you
You're
wouldn't.
making assumptions, right? Which is being irresponsible, right? In the same way that you would probably say, well, I would assume that animals enjoy suffering, right? You're being irresponsible, right? You're discarding safety first. You're discarding responsibility first. You're allowing your emotions to essentially make you irresponsible, right? By making assumptions about others, right? For all you know, I could have a terrible life. And so it makes no sense for you to assume that I'm having a great life.
Well, the reason I made that assumption is you're quite a good-looking lad. You're well-spoken, so that's the
Yeah,
reason I made that assumption.
yeah, but we shouldn't make assumptions, basically, because you could be wrong, right?
I could be wrong.
There you go.
Okay, fair enough. Bye.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Amazing. Right, don't make it personal though, right? This is about, the world and what
Hello.
we should do, not about me. Hello, how you doing?
I'm well. So I had a question. How are you going to be sure that all life will go extinct? How do you know that evolution won't restart again?
You can't be sure of anything.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But like, if you want everything to go extinct, then isn't there any way you could prevent evolution from happening again?
Yeah, we should try. Yeah. That's the
How are you
plan.
planning? How are you planning to do that?
With science.
That's very vague.
Well, how would you do it?
Removing all life in the sea?
And so you would do that without science.
Well, I'd do it with science, but
And so
science is
you
just...
wouldn't look, you wouldn't check if that's the right thing to do or the best way to do it. You would just do that.
Yeah.
Really? So you would literally give no concern to, what's the best way to do this? You would just go for the first thing that pops into your head.
Probably.
Right. So you can see how, well, obviously you can't see, but actually that's completely insane, right? If you're going to take on a massive responsibility, you shouldn't just do it with the first thing that pops into your head.
Oh. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for answering my question.
Okay. Thank you, Luca, for coming up. Right. If anybody else wants to join, now's your chance. There is nobody in the queue at the minute. So we're looking for new people to come up. In the meantime, let's see. I want to put a background on, but the problem is I'll just get restrictions if I do, which is annoying. Okay, let's take some comments and questions from the chat while we wait for more people to come up. Are you trying to sound like Elon Musk on purpose? No, but I do see what you mean. No one, unfortunately, will be living, so enjoy your last years of misery. Yeah. Do you disagree with his views and what he's advocating for? You'll probably never get an answer to that, right? People are very they dodge a lot of questions when you ask them about extinction, because essentially this is the correct position. They can't argue against it, and they can't defend their own position of being pro-suffering. So, you know, they're essentially between a rock and a hard place, pro-lifers, right? They can't argue against extinction, and they can't defend their own positions either, which is why they come out with all sorts of nonsense, right? All sorts of complete gibberish, dodging the questions, changing the subject every, you know, millisecond, basically, because they literally can't debate to defend their position. They can't. And so they can only rely on dishonest debate tactics, like deception, you know, trying to straw man you, trying to make you sound bad, making up appeals and logical fallacies. Okay, we have Kimset in the queue. Let's get them up. Hello, Kimset.
Yes, your thought experiment, or those who share the thought experiment that
It's a
you're
movement,
proposing,
not a thought experiment.
it's a thought experiment because it's been
Okay,
very clear.
Kimset, thank you so much for wasting our time. It's not a thought experiment, right? How could it be a thought experiment, right? There's nothing experimental about this. It's simply saying, let's help those who are suffering, right? Let's take action, let's do activism. So we're against thought experiments, right? We're actually against that kind of thing. But as I was just explaining, right, seconds before he joined the stream, seconds before, I was explaining the exact sort of behavior that he himself engaged in, right? Which is that they can't argue against the truth of extinctionism. So they can only, you know, troll, straw man, use dishonest tactics, you know, make insults basically, right? Say, oh, it's a thought experiment instead of, it's not a movement. Okay, well, no logic detected, bro, right? Only insults detected, essentially. Okay, we still have to wait for new people to join the queue, so let's wait for some more debates, some more discussions. If anyone else has questions, and yeah, let's take some more stuff from the chat. James for president. Yeah, make me president, and I will take it on. I would take the job, and I would do it. This is like a cult. No, it's not a cult. It's not a thought experiment. Kimset is saying this thought experiment is evil. But you know, so you think all of the evil in the world should exist, basically, Kimset. I would say that is evil, right? We are saying there should be no evil. You're saying allow the evil, right? So who's really evil here, Kimset? It's you, basically, isn't it? Okay, what else we got? Why say such a thing if you know you won't be able to fulfill it? Well, we are trying to fulfill it. Kimset, hello. Do you have any more crazy opinions for us?
No, it was very clear. I asked you to explain your thought experiment to its conclusion.
Right, but
you don't.
It's not a thought experiment.
But it is. Just because you don't claim it is doesn't mean that it is not.
Why? What makes it not a movement and only a thought experiment?
You haven't considered all the myriad of different
Kimset, I'm asking you a
possibilities.
question here.
No, you haven't considered all of the myriad of possibilities, and every time someone brings up the different possibilities,
how does that mean that it's not a movement?
because all it is now is a thought experiment. It's not coherent. It's not coherent. It doesn't have goals. It doesn't have goals. It doesn't have any goals.
It
doesn't have milestones.
So the most
you have a thought. You have a thought.
We're going to mute you because you're unable to stop doing this, Kimset, right? It's just right. You can't stop, clearly. So, you know, we're going to have to take that away from you. You're not able to be responsible with your ability to speak, clearly. Wow, yeah, it's kind of like I don't actually know what to do with this freedom now. Now that Kismet isn't spamming and just won't shut up, it's like,
when
wow,
you look at your facial expressions, it's clear that.
Okay, so yeah, he's still yapping, everyone. No, I wanted to actually debate him, but clearly he's not able to do it, right? You know, I brought him up for round 2. We were going to do a debate. I'm scared of just. Oh, what about the? What about this? Right? Yeah, I'm scared that he's gonna not shut the hell up and just spam, right, and just shout into the microphone and ignore everything I say. Why wouldn't I be scared of that, right? That's a good thing. That's a sensible thing to be scared of. Daisy,
Right,
hello. How you
hello.
doing?
Yeah. I mean, hello. I am just curious. I don't have a lot of time, but I've seen your page, and I don't know if coming up here and talking to you is only for debating. I am actually kind of behind the idea. What I'm curious about is like I've never seen this movement before, like outside of your page. It's still pretty small, it's developing, right? But what would be like your option for the extinction, and also like what movements are you planning to do? Like what activism? Because I don't know what can you even do towards that goal, because obviously you can't convince the whole world to be on board with this, but I think it's like a pretty good point to end all suffering.
We don't need the whole world, right? Most revolutions have been with a minority. So you don't need a majority, you don't need 100%. You can do it with like 1% of the population.
I mean, yeah, but like during the process of removing all suffering and like, going through with the extinction of the whole world, during that there would be more suffering like building around it, because it's not gonna like happen all at once unless there's like a nuclear bomb or something.
Where? So what suffering are you talking about?
Like if we're planning to like end all life on Earth, people are obviously gonna be against that, and they're gonna live longer, they're gonna suffer longer. We're making other people suffer in order to like fulfill the wish of extinction.
So you think that the minority population takes priority?
I mean, I think no life should suffer. Like
you're dodging the question there, Daisy.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm just curious about the activism, I'm not like against it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that, billions of years of suffering can't be less than what we prevent, right?
I mean, yeah, good point. So that's all. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Daisy. And yeah, you should think about animals, right? Extinction is not going to increase suffering for animals. They're already suffering the worst possible, right? It can't actually get any worse for animals. It's already as bad as it could possibly be. 99% are eaten alive, right? I dare you to do worse than that. Okay, we have Ian joining us next. Hello.
James, I love you. I love whatever you're doing. Sportsy.
Okay, thank you for the support, Ian. Next up, we have Lawnmower Man joining us on the stage. Let's bring them up. And yeah, for everyone else, let's get you in the queue. Let's get you ready for a debate. Lawnmower Man, hello, how you doing?
Hello. Yeah, I had a question. I just saw a video of yours where you said you're not an anti-natalist, actually.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, so I had a question. So for your position, shouldn't you basically also be a pragmatic natalist?
We are, yeah. So we need more humans to make extinction possible and to make it happen sooner as well.
Yeah, I was wondering, because we don't have the technology to actually extinguish life in the universe. Exactly. And you would also be for extinguishing all life in the universe, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now, hopefully, in the best case scenario, the ideal situation would be that we can pass on the job to robots and AI, and then we can do human extinction, and the AI can do universe-wide extinction for billions of more years. Now, if for whatever reason we can't rely on AI and robots, we will have to continue on reproducing and existing until we can, right? Or indefinitely, forever maybe. But we are going to be suffering less than the wild animals, those who are really suffering in the worst conditions. Humans will be having the best conditions, and they will be able to help those who are much more numerous and in worse conditions. So even if we have to continue on forever, it would probably still be the right thing to do.
Yeah, and also you would probably also have to eliminate like all matter in the universe because it can evolve sentience, right?
Well, you don't necessarily have to do that, right? Like, for example, most of the life is probably just going to evolve on, habitable planets, right? So I don't know if you have to get rid of every last, rock floating through space, but potentially, right? So we could work our way up, right? We could, make sure that planets aren't being habited, and then eventually, maybe, once we reach the pinnacle of technology, then we can get rid of all matter or something. But we don't know yet, but we should just work our way up, essentially.
Also, yeah, I see. So, aren't there also constraints? For example, if we do really think like global warming is gonna like eliminate us in 200 years, us, and maybe we're the only sentient or like the smartest, group of sentient
Yeah,
life.
but realistically, humanity is not going to go extinct because of global warming, right? Even if it gets really hot on the planet, there's still going to be loads of places that you can live. And yeah, even if there is a complete disaster, like a complete climate disaster, people are probably going to try and solve it, right? They'll finally be like, all right, fine, I guess we have to do something now. So personally, I have confidence that even if there is a climate disaster, humanity would be like, all right, fine, we'll solve it.
I see. Yeah, that was one of my questions.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Lawnmower Man. Moving on, we have Lawrence coming up next. Let's get Lawrence onto the stage. See if they have any questions, if they're pro-life, pro-suffering. Okay. Albay says, I love you. Thank you for the support. Creelin says, all support. Thank you, Creelin. Lawrence, hello. How you doing?
Hello. Yeah.
Hello.
I'm just bored on my work break, to be fair. But what do you mean by extinction ends all suffering? What's your point?
Yeah, we should make all life go extinct so that there is no suffering. Nobody's being born into a bad life that they never asked for ever again.
Well, so there's just nothing ever.
Yeah, exactly. So it's more important to have safety from suffering than it is to have life.
Is that not kind of how a heroin addict might think?
No,
in terms of
it's the opposite, right? Pro-lifers like yourself are more like heroin addicts because they're willing to allow extreme cruelty so that they can get their pleasure. So we're saying no heroin, no victims, no pleasure, no suffering.
So there's no. But what do you define as suffering? Let me put it that way.
Negative experiences, pain, right? But it's not just about. It's not just about having to go to school. We're not talking about homework and stuff. There's
but I mean, in going forward in the world, suffering, is that not part of? I don't know. Does an ant suffer? I don't know.
Well, it's better safe than sorry, right? So better to just have no life. And even if ants don't,
does suffering come from self-awareness? Maybe.
Well, it's largely. Well, the thing is, no, it's not just about self-awareness. Like, you suffer in order to interact with your environment, basically. So suffering is something that we evolved because it's actually helpful. But it's only helpful. It's only helpful to the lucky ones, though. So for the vast majority of life, it doesn't help them. It just tortures them.
But is it only mammals that suffer?
No.
For example, does a frog really suffer?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure when it comes to insects. I mean, does an ant really suffer, or does it?
Well, there's lots of different insects, right? There's like millions of species of insects, and we can say that at least one of them probably does suffer. But even if it is just one, we would still do extinction. And also, life evolves to suffer more anyway. So life which doesn't suffer that much today, it will evolve to suffer much more. Right, so the history of evolution is just about an increase in ability to suffer.
Well, no, but it's just genetic, natural selection, isn't it? So whatever is most useful will carry on replicating itself, won't it? Does that make sense?
But only in
whatever's able to. Anyway, I'm you know.
No, I was going to say it's not about what's good for the life form. It's about what's good for reproduction. So reproduction is the master.
Yeah, but even then, yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
So essentially, life is being made to reproduce against its own best interests and to survive and live against its own best interests.
Yeah, but does it not come down to there's this many genes, this many, and
well, no. Look,
the one that carries on. For example, like I don't know, take like rabies, which is RNA, isn't it? It's not even DNA. But there would have been millions of versions of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that one that was able to be living on that pattern is the one that's still here and has done the same thing.
That's a bad system, though, right? That's a bad system where it's effectively...
But I don't think rabies understands suffering. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it does.
Say again?
So rabies, I don't think, does understand suffering.
Yeah, probably not.
As an example, the rabies. So but that is still a living thing.
Yeah.
So
we should get rid of it, though, right? It causes suffering. It just causes harm. We should just get rid of it. The thing is, right?
So what you're saying, that it should be no humanity, and that will end suffering.
Well, it's animals as well, right? All life. So the thing is, we have to have a zero tolerance policy on extreme suffering.
I know rabies is a bit of a wild one, but it is, the point being is still true.
Yeah, but we can't allow life to exist in unsafe conditions, right? It's not safe for life to exist, and so it shouldn't. I know it's a lot to take in, right? It's a bit of a mind-blowing...
No, it's not. I don't agree. Because you've only got to be here, by the way, for 75, 80 years. Some people might make it 90.
So
the odd guy,
suffering is okay then?
Because it's not always suffering. If you've got mental strength, it's not always going to be suffering. Suffering is a part of the experience, but it's not the whole experience, is it?
Well, it is for most life, right? Most animals get eaten alive as babies, right? So I would say...
But as humans, we've created this sort of Eden Project kind of dome, where certainly since the discovery of penicillin and the ability to...
Do you not think we should have a zero tolerance policy on suffering and life existing in unsafe conditions? Because essentially, it's
but the people,
saying, right? Nobody
suffering will be most extreme if you start killing everybody. Though.
No,
because they ain't going to want to die, are they?
No, actually, that's wrong, Lawrence. So
if they're not born.
Euthanasia doesn't cause suffering, right? Euthanasia prevents suffering. It provides immediate safety from suffering and immediate safety from a bad life and from a bad death.
That's a mental take.
Well, it's true though, isn't it? And you see, how is it not true?
Well, because if that person has become an adult, and a self-awareness, they're not going to want to die, are they?
Yeah,
and actually probably the most scary thing will be death.
Most of the population on this planet are animals, right? So you're referring to less than 0.001% of the population.
What, in terms of humans?
Yeah.
But
we're not just talking about humans, right? They're the minority. So most of the victims we want to help are animals who are in the worst conditions with the worst suffering. But we should help humans as well. Right, lots of humans are suffering.
But there are sides to animals. You can watch. Yes, there is a lot of suffering, but there's also a lot of. There is a lot of suffering, yes, because it's an interesting thing, isn't it? The
Lawrence, do you think
ecosystem.
Do you think the pleasure in this world justifies the suffering? Do you think there's some sort of happy balance?
Yeah, but you can't know that.
I'm asking you a question.
You can't know.
I'm asking you a question.
I don't know, but I don't think you can know because
which side of the fence are you on? Which side of the fence are you on? Let's allow the suffering, or let's not allow the suffering.
Well, I can watch for example, I don't know, a dog, with its puppies and that perfectly happily, and they're happy. So and that is not actually suffering because is
that an accurate representation of the majority experience on this planet?
I think it completely depends on your circumstance. So if you're
Lawrence, I'm asking you a question. Is
animal,
that
I think
an accurate reflection of the majority experience on this planet?
I think it depends on
what?
Where you're born.
It depends on the science, Lawrence. It depends on the reality, the truth.
Well, no, it also depends on.
No, it depends. You want it to depend on your feelings, right? You want it to depend.
No.
Facts, not feelings, Lawrence. Right? Facts, not feelings. You're saying, well, it depends on how I feel at the time. No.
But if you're a dog born in the wild, you're probably not going to live very long.
Yeah.
But if you're a dog born to a couple of millionaires, they're going to keep you, fed and bathed you all the time, and you're never going to get fleeing.
So the dog with the millionaires having a good life, that justifies all of the dogs that are tortured. You think?
No, it doesn't. But I'm saying
there you go. That's it. So no amount of pleasure justifies extreme suffering.
But do you not think the point of life has always been to try and escape suffering and find comfort? Do you not find that's? Do you know what I'm saying?
But that's an appeal, Lawrence. Right?
Do you have a job? Do you have a job?
Let's not make it personal, right? Let's
try. No. I didn't mean it in a personal way.
Instead of attacking.
But the reason, no, I didn't mean it like that. So you work to avoid your own suffering, because if you had no money,
because you're forced to do it. You're forced to.
Yeah, that's all I meant by that. I didn't mean it personally.
Yeah, but you're forced to do that, right? You're not given a choice. You're literally enslaved into doing it, basically.
It's true, yeah. And so you find a job that's the best money you can get out of it, and it's not really boring.
But Lawrence, this has nothing to do with the fact that animals are being tortured to death, right? Children are being tortured to death, right? We should make that impossible.
But where are children being tortured to death, really?
All over the world, Lawrence.
Or in the Western world?
Yeah, the world it has West and
Give me an example.
Right? And
give me one
South,
example.
Okay, it's not just the West. So when we say the world, right, it means everywhere.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, but I think we've created a ecosystem that, a lot of people want to judge the West and always attack the West.
It's not about the West, Lawrence.
We've
right?
made the best
you're discriminating. You're making this discriminatory for some reason. I'm just saying that all over the world, animals are being tortured to death. Humans are being tortured to death. They're living through lives of depression, begging for death, right? So this cruelty.
People calling me Epstein, by the way.
Lawrence, just say it with me. Yeah, nobody deserves to suffer. We should make it so that nobody suffers, right? It's as simple as that.
But you've got to understand.
Why are you against that?
Okay. Let me just make one point.
Why are you against safety from suffering?
The fundamental
why are you
point
actively against providing safety
of life is to survive. So there can be no greater suffering than going extinct.
Why?
That's it.
So how do you suffer?
Because that finitely goes against everything you're.
Yeah, that's not an answer. Lawrence. That's
here
not an
to
answer.
be.
How do you suffer when you go extinct?
Well, because you're dead, so you're not aware that you've suffered.
So you're not suffering.
So what is suffering? Or what, just the awareness that you're struggling to survive?
Audacious claims like, extinction is the most suffering possible. You're just making it up. You have no idea what you're talking about, right?
Well, no, because the reason you're scared to die, you're afraid of predators, you're afraid of getting ill, you're all these things are because you're genetically designed to want to survive.
So would you rather be euthanized or die from being eaten alive, Lawrence?
Well, being eaten alive would be very
alive.
unpleasant. Yes, it would be awful to be eaten alive.
Exactly. So extinction does not cause more suffering. It prevents terrible suffering like that.
Yeah, but I'm just so what's your worldview here? What, just kill everyone?
It sounds like you're getting a bit desperate to argue against this here, Lawrence. Just try and, be more respectful, right? So it's not about just killing everyone. It's about making killing impossible. But we do have to do it once to make sure it never happens again. Yeah.
Well, so just end all life is what you're saying. Which can't be done, by the way. It will never be done. You cannot do it.
Why not?
Well, how would you do it?
With activism.
You can't end all life. It cannot be done.
That's a very arrogant claim to make, Lawrence, right? You couldn't possibly know that.
human beings do not have the ability to end all life.
They've made several species of animals go extinct already. They're bloodthirsty creatures. They can absolutely do it.
Several species have no, not when it comes to microscopic life and that. You'd never do it. You'd never do it.
We have hand soap. We do it every day, right?
Yeah. We're going to cover the whole planet in hand soap. It's not going to be done.
With thousands,
the bottom of the Marianas Trench, you'd never do it.
Well, look, you can't make that claim, right? You don't know that, so you're saying that we can't do it when you can't actually make that claim, right? And so with thousands of years or even millions,
see, all your commenters think I'm a retard. I'm really not.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a human, guys, right? He can't help it. But look, with
so are you. You're a human as well, by the way.
Well, I'm humanity 2.0. You're on the 1.0. So we are the.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah, actually. So yeah, basically, look, with thousands or millions of years, we could definitely do the Mariana Trench, right?
How?
With science.
So you've already. So basically, the problem is the only reason we even know it exists.
Oh no, that's unfortunate. For some reason, TikTok kicked him out, and then said like, okay, I don't think we got a restriction necessarily, but TikTok gave me a message on screen saying, like, should we remove this guy? He's breaking the guidelines. Like, honestly, I didn't kick him out. TikTok kicked him out. I'm just trying to check if I got a restriction because it said guest community guideline violation, basically. I honestly don't even know what he said, right? Compared to 99% of my guests, he was very polite, actually. Yeah, true, he did use the R slur. Still, compared to most of my guests, he was polite, right? Compared to most of them. And I've never actually had TikTok kick someone out of my stream before like that. Yeah, never used the R slur, basically. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, what is the painting behind you? Well, it's just a sky, essentially, clouds. And then that one is of Tunisia, actually. It's just like some huts and like African kind of village or something. Okay, moving on. We've got Mr. Anderson in the queue. Let's bring them up. Hello, Mr. Anderson. Hello. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, how's it going? I can't say that I fully understand. I would 100% disagree. I would take the most painful, excruciating, terrible death over self-assisted suicide or the complete and total annihilation of existence.
What about an entire life of pure hell?
100%. I would take a physical entire life of pure hell over non-existence any day.
And do you think we should do that to everyone else as well?
Yes, 100%. I think everybody should experience the most worst possible, terrible physical.
Okay, got it. So you're just trolling, basically. He's trolling. Like, he's not serious. He doesn't actually believe that. He's obviously just trolling. Neponel, hello. How are you? Okay, no, they've left. Moving on, we've got a few people in the queue. We've got It's Your Boy Junior. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm from Philippines, by the way. I just love your view of world. Like, people just can't accept how difficult, how difficult and how cruel world is. Like, I've been there. Like, seriously, I hate life so much.
Yeah, exactly. Life is terrible, and if you're privileged and you're like a slave owner, like the other guy, slave owner mentality, then you don't care about those who suffer. Unfortunately, it's actually way worse than most people realize, right? The extent to which most people don't care about the suffering of others is way worse, way more extreme than we like to think about, basically, right? So you got Mr. Anderson saying, yeah, torture everyone. You got the other guy saying, who cares? It's just a little bit of suffering. Most people just simply don't care. They will find a reason not to care, to excuse it. Any reason, any excuse, basically. Okay, moving on. We've got intellectually. Hello.
Hello. So, hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay. So, as you said, like extinction is like your actual movement. So, like by extinction, you mean extinction of like everything in Earth.
Yeah.
Like
get rid
including
of it.
the smallest organisms to the biggest organisms.
Everything.
Okay. So, we achieve this scientifically. That's what we're trying to say, right? Yeah. Okay. So, if we have the capacity to exterminate each and every organism, by that point, science would have evolved such that.
No. You're wrong. It's actually possible to sterilize the entire universe without ever creating technology which can make suffering impossible with life existing, right? So it's very possible to sterilize the entire universe. It's hypothetically, theoretically possible to do it in a way where you don't rely on technology which would give you the same power to create safety for life. So we can do the extinction of the universe with technology, a level of technology which does not need to be so advanced that it essentially is omnipotence, right? So only being a god essentially only omnipotence can really provide true safety, 100% safety from suffering. Whereas only extinction can do that, right? So it's either extinction or omnipotence. And so we can do extinction without omnipotence, but we can't provide total safety for life without omnipotence or extinction, right? So it's a choice between not having life which can suffer or having life which can suffer, and then how can you possibly guarantee its safety? It's physically, scientifically impossible, right? The only way you could guarantee safety for life is with omniscience. And we don't know that's possible, and we don't know that omniscience would even be capable of providing that safety. So it might just not be able to do it. But that would be the only way that you could, right? Is the 50% chance that omniscience could do it. But that's essentially the most impossible, the most difficult thing that you could ever achieve, right? It's the limit. Whereas you don't need that. You don't need to be omniscient to do universe-wide extinction.
Okay, like so we cause extinction. I agree with you on the point before, but like if we cause all extinction, like how can we guarantee that no life could origin in any place of the universe, not even universe, let's just say Earth? Like how can we guarantee such that life wouldn't evolve and like suffering would still continue?
Well, you can only try to guarantee it, but it's the safer option than having life exist, right? It's you have a much better chance of there being no suffering if there is no life. Right. He's left. I guess maybe his internet cut out or something. Who knows? Okay, but it was a good chat, good conversation. And moving on, we have Johnny Walker. Let's bring them up. Johnny, hello.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Do you have any questions?
Okay, so like, what's your plan to end human suffering for the extinction? Like, is it like mandatory if you talk to me, or like,
No.
I don't know.
So, look, we might do sterilization at some point, maybe.
Okay.
But mostly we're going to be using euthanasia, putting them to sleep. The thing is, sterilization only helps the next generation. Sterilization doesn't help anybody who's begging for death today or tomorrow, right? So only euthanasia, euthanasia does the job of the sterilization, but it also helps those today from suffering, right? So euthanasia is better than sterilization.
But like, do you need consent for euthanasia or?
No. You just do it. You just do it.
Cool. Yeah.
The problem is, the reason for that is that humans are not able to consent, right? So essentially, that because humans are not able to think properly, it means quite literally, and I'm not joking, that they are unable to give informed consent. So we have to make the decisions for them. Humans are not able to make responsible decisions for their own safety or the safety of others, because they have specifically evolved to be incapable of making responsible decisions when it comes to safety and life existing. Because if they did make responsible decisions, then they wouldn't exist, right? So they went, the responsible life forms went extinct, and the more irresponsible ones, the more irrational ones populated the entire planet. So we only get left with the irrational ones, essentially.
So what's this euthanasia? Would it be painful, or?
Probably not, right? Euthanasia is normally painless, and it provides immediate safety from a bad life and immediate safety from a bad death as well. So most deaths will be worse than the euthanasia anyway, right? Would you rather get euthanized, put to sleep, or would you rather be eaten alive, which is what happens to most animals in nature? And the thing is, even if it is painful, it still prevents much worse pain. So it's still the right thing to do.
Yes, kill all human. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's not about killing humans or killing anyone. You know, euthanasia is a different thing, right? It's about doing it in an ethical way in order to provide safety from suffering. If you just support killing people, which we don't, right? But killing itself can mean anything, right? It can mean, you know, use a chainsaw if you want, right? So that's not ethical. Euthanasia specifically has to be done with ethical consideration, whereas just simply killing doesn't, you know, by definition involve being ethical. So we should do it ethically, right? And again, it's not about killing, because, you know, euthanasia is a much more responsible thing, right? Hello.
Hey. I just want to say, like, I actually, like, bro, I, like, fully agree. Like, bro, me and my friend have been watching your videos all day. Like, they're actually so good. But I have one question to ask, like...
Oh, he's smiling.
Bro, I have one question to ask, like, the only thing is, I feel like in the, like, way, when you get down to actually, like, extinction and, like, getting everyone, I feel like because, like, obviously this might not be applicable to you, but, like, a lot of people might go for one certain demographic first because, like, a minority, say, because they think they're the most suffering, and then that leads to kind of, like, eugenics, and it's a weird kind of subject to approach upon. Like, what do you say to, like, that kind of point?
I honestly see no problem with eugenics, right? I mean, can you tell me what the problem would be?
Oh, okay. Sorry, wait. Just a sec. Go speak up.
The thing is that right now, if you've got, like, Donald Trump doing eugenics, then, yeah, it might go wrong, okay? You might have it done in a racist way, you might be done in a hateful way, but simply improving the genetics for humanity is a good thing if it's done responsibly, right?
Okay, you know what?
You know what? I'll even go as far as to say, yeah, there might be certain groups of humans who would be better off going first. But, you know, that just because that sounds crazy and dramatic doesn't mean it's wrong, right?
Yeah, no, okay, like, I understand that point, definitely, but, like... bro, wait, sorry, the comments are putting me off. Yeah, no, we're gonna spread the cause, because, like, it's actually right, like, like, bro, like, people killing themselves, like, that's really sad, but, like, just do it to everyone then, because then all suffering's done, isn't that true?
Yep.
Yeah, well, obviously we're doing peaceful activism, right? And we're working towards we're working towards the most fair extinction possible, right? So the most fair extinction, the fairest one, means the most vast and thorough, right? So that it covers as much life as possible.
Like a nuclear bomb.
Well, no, nuclear bombs can't cause extinction.
Wait, can they not?
Can they not?
No, so the last asteroid which hit the planet and wiped out most of the dinosaurs, it had the power of over 1 billion nuclear bombs, and it still didn't cause total extinction.
Yeah,
it didn't finish the job. It didn't finish the job.
Billion.
So we need to find better ways than that, right? And we also need to work towards universe-wide extinction as well. and preventing life from developing on planets and in the
Oh,
universe.
like aliens and all that.
Yeah, like planktons on different planets, like SpongeBob.
Our current science says that most life develops on planets because of sunlight. So preventing sunlight, creating a permanent eclipse could be one way to prevent life from developing on planets.
Oh yeah, that's smart, you know? We can just destroy the sun.
Well, no, you wouldn't have to destroy the sun. You can use like an artificial satellite, like an artificial moon, which creates a permanent eclipse.
Oh, that'll be sick.
In fact, this technology already exists. It's already being used
Okay, let's
on
just
Earth.
do it already.
It's already being used on Earth.
Oh, sick. Okay, sorry, I'm not debating you. We just came to like agree.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. I love the makeup looks in the different videos as well.
All right, thanks for coming up, guys. Consider joining our Discord and our WhatsApp group. The links are on my profile. We've got lots of fun people that you can meet on our Discord. There's hundreds of extinctionists. We've got activists making videos and posting them. You've got people debating. You've got a fan club for me. There's a few, these Zoomer 18-year-old whatever people that are making edits and the type of people that have got anime profile pics. There's a bit of a fan club for me in the Discord as well. I didn't start it. I didn't ask for it to happen, but if you want to join that, why not? Okay, somebody is asking to come up, so let's get them up. Hello, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good, thank you.
This is maybe not totally relevant, but I was just wondering what your thoughts on Buddhism are. And I know that the context of suffering is a little bit different, but
we hate it. The problem with Buddhism is that people think that they actually believe in it when they shouldn't, right? So Buddhism can't help animals, and anyone that thinks that Buddhism is going to help their suffering is basically limiting their thinking to gentle types of suffering, right? Buddhism can't protect you from extreme suffering. So, if you torture a Buddhist, guess what? They're going to suffer, and the Buddhism won't help.
Gotcha. Hey, perfect, man. That's all I wanted to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, we've had lots of people suggest, just do Buddhism instead. It's like, well, how is an animal going to become a Buddhist? How is a baby, a human baby that, dies from a painful type of cancer, how is a baby going to benefit from Buddhism? How is a young child going to benefit from Buddhism? They can't, essentially. So, animals, children, disabled people, whatever, right? Most people can't benefit from Buddhism. It's just another coping mechanism, essentially. Pretty much everything in life and culture and art, even, is just coping mechanisms. Hello, how you doing?
Doing all right. How about you?
Yeah, good. I've missed you. How you doing? Do you have any questions today?
Yeah. So if we discovered a cure for all pain and suffering in general, mentally and physically tomorrow, would you stop?
The thing is, it would have to have, it's not just about, there's no suffering. It's about, can it go wrong, right? Is it 100% safe? Is there certainty of safety? Are there any unknowns whatsoever that present infinite danger, right? So
I see.
So essentially only non-existence, only extinction can provide that certainty of safety. Whereas if you have a life form exist, it's essentially physically impossible to guarantee its safety, right? It's physically.
So does your answer lean to a no or to a yes?
My answer, well, if I could click my fingers and send everyone to heaven, where there is certainty of safety and a good time for everyone.
No, I said discovered a cure, right? When I said that, I meant something that realistic that could be, actually implemented.
Okay, fair point. Okay, in that case, yes, yeah, for sure, right? If we could,
so it wasn't ever about suffering.
It's all about suffering.
Not really.
You're proposing a solution to something that will help with suffering. I'm saying yes, and you think that means I don't care about suffering.
So if your answer is yes, that it was never really about suffering in the first place.
Why?
If you actually think about it.
Why?
Okay, basically, right? I'll explain it to you this way. If you said no, then it was basically, then we're supposed to work on solutions from now on, right? But you said yes, which means, right, that it was always about finding a solution.
You don't get it.
Not
Even
about
if
finding.
we can, so we would still do extinction unless there's certainty of safety. But we support improving conditions until we either reach extinction or certainty of safety.
Yeah, I get you, but I said we found a cure. That's what I'm talking about. So yes,
when you say
there's
cure,
safety,
though,
it's guaranteed.
Right? But
Said
does this cure have like omniscience level?
I said it cures
guarantee?
all types of suffering, mentally, physically.
But does it provide like 100% guarantee that it can never go wrong?
Yeah, bro, it's a cure.
You see, cures can go wrong though. So when you say it's just a cure, right? Then that's kind of.
Well, I just told you that. I just told you that
with-
it's guaranteed.
Yeah, a cure can't really give a perfect guarantee like that, right? So,
But in a
but
hypothetical
should we improve
situation.
conditions? Yeah, why not?
So in a hypothetical situation, your answer is yes.
Well, you've made your hypothetical very confusing, to be honest. But yeah, why not?
All right, man. I just appreciate your answer, anyways. Have a good day.
All right, thank you. But yeah, if we can improve conditions, then we'll do it, right? If we're working towards extinction and somebody says, oh, look, I've developed a new toilet seat, it's even more comfortable, then we'll say, yeah, okay, let's start using it, right? So why not? Okay, we've got JP Khalid. Hello, how you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Very good. How about you?
Yeah, good. Do you have any questions?
Yes, of course. And I have some opinions as well.
Okay, I'm listening.
First of all, the question that I have is, I do agree a lot about this child-free idea or being safe rather than complaining for suffering later on. But if we don't know what is the reason of the beginning, then we don't know what is the reason of the present and where we are going. So what do you think? Why
There is no purpose. There's no reason. There's no God. There's no meaning. No God is coming to help, right? We have to help ourselves. No one is coming to help. There is no God coming to help you. That's just a coping mechanism, basically. So.
Yes, I clearly understand you, but how about if it is you, the God? How about if it is you, God, being incarnated in this world? For example, if we are living as energy or consciousness or light forever and ever and ever for billions, trillions.
Right. So your microphone is difficult to hear, but he was asking, what if you're a God? What if you're energy that lives on forever? Look, this is a fantasy, right? This is nothing to do with real life. In the real world, you have children and animals being tortured, and we should help them, right? We should grow the movement, gather people together who will make it impossible for that to keep happening, right? Provide safety from extreme suffering. So that's the important thing, right? We shouldn't be fantasizing about gods and, religion and, mythology and stuff like that. It's not the time for that, right? It's the time to be responsible. There are animals, there are people, there's life forms out there being tortured, suffering terribly, being forced to suffer, and we have to help them, right? So just philosophizing isn't good enough. Start making videos, do activism, get out there, go on. I mean, the whole point of me doing activism and doing videos is to get more people to join the movement and to grow the movement with me and everyone else, right? Again, I didn't start this movement. I joined and said, yes, I will help to grow the movement. I can see how, that will help to end all suffering. So that's what everyone else should do. You should start doing activism, start getting on the right side of history, right? The victims need you. The sufferers need you. This is the only right thing to do. So get on board with it and start doing activism, make videos, grow the movement, help us get closer to being able to do extinction, to end all of the suffering, right? The only way that we can make it happen is if you actually help, right? So if nobody's helping, nobody's doing anything, makes it very difficult, right? But if you all decide to, right, okay, let's do activism, right? Let's do the right thing. Let's become good people. Let's work towards a suffering-free world, right? Yeah, it's the right thing to do. So get up, start making videos, join the Discord. The link's on my profile. Lawnmower Man, hello.
Yeah, I have another question because of the comments. What do you think is the optimal economic system for extinction to develop the AI and the future technology to end suffering?
That's a good question. It's a difficult question to answer because, well, at the minute we would support capitalism continuing to some extent, right? We wouldn't, get into power and tear down the system on day one because stability is the priority. So, we could work towards, a sort of communist kind of world potentially, but
don't you think there's some evidence that capitalism and competition creates more innovation, for example, over time? So we should be more capitalist.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. So that is one option, and we would probably explore that option first instead of tearing down the entire system and making that impossible to experiment with.
Yeah, for example, yeah.
Yeah, but the way I think about it is that most likely within 20, 30 years, robots will replace work anyway, right? Jobs will be automated away pretty soon, right? It's going to happen pretty quickly, to be honest. To be honest, I think people going into college and university are going to really struggle to decide what to do because it's like, yeah, AI is probably going to take that job. AI is probably going to take that job. What the hell am I going to study, right? What you're going to do? Programming? It's basically non-exist. It's finished, right? It's done. AI is taking it. So, I think before long you're going to have robots building houses. You're going to have robots doing your laundry, your washing, cooking for you. I think it's going to happen pretty soon, to be honest. And I do think that by the time that we take power, robots are probably going to be running the world. But, okay, let's do the thought experiment. Let's pretend that doesn't happen. What should be the economic system? Probably should be capitalism. But equally, capitalism right now, for example, it is working on the social safety net. So in the United Kingdom, at least, and in lots of other countries in Europe, benefits and disability, unemployment payments and stuff, the social safety net, universal basic income, it's coming, right? It's starting. It is beginning, and it is getting there. So, yeah, I think that's going to happen. Essentially, we are going to get to an easier world, basically.
We should be getting to an easier world. For example, because you said you were pro eugenics, for example, or like some type of eugenics. Or, for example, you think we should be anti? Do you think the pro-extinction movement should be anti these, counter a data center people, for example, people who are anti-data centers? We should be anti them, for example.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. The anti-AI people are crazy, right? They're the same people that quite literally say, oh, I wish I lived, thousands of years ago without any technology, right? They're completely insane. Right? If they actually went and lived like that, guess what? They would get killed very quickly. They would have a terrible life. So it's complete ignorance. And yet, the more data centers we have, the better, right? The less wild animal suffering.
So true. Yes. And also, what? For example, do you think expansion of safety nets is actually good? For example, because the people who are on safety nets, right, the poorest people, they're not the most innovative. For example.
That's true.
Or they can stifle away innovation, with taxes, for example. Should we be pro more innovation, more, welfare? Should we be?
Yeah, it's a really good question. The thing is, it's kind of, we live in the world is changing very rapidly right now, right? You've got the third world.
Singularity, yeah.
You've got the third world countries that are sort of running into the Western countries, but they're needed, right? They're doing the jobs, right? So essentially, people in the West are starting to not want to work anymore. Like you said, right? They've got safety nets, they've got benefits, they've got money from the government. And so you've got the immigrants coming in who still want to work. And so that's the way that the world is going, right? Is that, you know, rich people, privileged people will just stop working essentially, and the poor people will be the ones working. But yeah, you'll still have some like really selfish people who want to work harder and, you know, want to make even more money, who want to be on top of the world. And they are probably going to push the world forward with new technology, right? So in that sense, yeah, capitalism for now. If we can think of a better system, then we can think about it. But no, we wouldn't urgently be changing the system in terms of from capitalism. We would probably keep it at least temporarily, right? We would try and make it work. And if it doesn't, then we would try and change it.
But you actually think there's going to be a singularity soon with AI?
Well, it's another really good question, another really big question. But yeah, I mean, everything looks like it's heading in that direction, right? But at the same time, it's possible that there won't be a singularity. It depends on the limits of technology and science, the hardware, the software. I think there will be a singularity eventually, but if it's going to happen in the next 20 years or not, it's hard to say. I'm leaning towards yes, basically. And if that happens, right, for those who don't know what the singularity is, it basically means that, like, you know, out of the technology of this world, a god will be born, right? It will essentially become, it'll be like Dr. Manhattan, right? You know, you get a few computers going, and eventually it just fucking does a singularity, right? It becomes, you know, just starts improving over and over again. It becomes smarter and smarter and smarter. And that's the way it's going, right? Digital technology is getting smarter and smarter, and it's going to get beyond human intelligence and just be able to use that intelligence to create more intelligence, basically. So yeah, that's going to happen, and it will be exponential. It's going to be like, and potentially, you know, one of my theories is that, yeah, like a god will essentially be born out of the singularity, and it will just take over the world and hopefully do the right thing and do extinction.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the best shot we have, I guess, for extinction.
I mean, we're not relying on like I mean, yeah, okay, maybe it is the best shot, but equally, if it doesn't happen, we'll still do it anyway, right? It would just be more difficult.
Yeah. What I have to ask, what do you think? Like, what's the best? Like, do you think when you say you're pro eugenics, do you mean like embryo selection, for example? Do you think that's a viable strategy?
Yeah, I don't really know too much about it, but I do agree with improving genetics, and you know, most people that get offended about the idea of eugenics, they think it's like racist, or they think it's about discriminating against different groups that you don't like or something. So, you know, we would probably be doing it in an ethical way instead of a malevolent way, right? An evil way, right? So you've got genocide, you've got eugenics. Traditionally, these have all been used for evil by horrible, evil people, right?
Yeah, you should probably say you're pro positive eugenics. Negative eugenics is like the genocide type. Positive is like selecting for traits that are desirable.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. And look, you know, the thing is, if you open your mind to what's possible and what may be necessary for the greater good, then yeah, we can say, look, maybe a specific race would be better off being replaced, or, you know, replaced with better genetics. But we're not going to be going after that out of racism, out of hatred, right? And we're not really thinking about that anyway. That's not something that we're interested in. But ultimately, I think it is interesting to say that we should be open to it, right? We should be open to anything that is for the greater good. And unfortunately, a lot of people really hate that idea, right? So over the last few days of my streams, I've had lots of people saying, well, we shouldn't support animal farming even if it reduces suffering. We shouldn't do terrible things even if it reduces suffering. We shouldn't reproduce and create new humans because it could make them suffer. And so essentially people are against the lesser of two evils. People are essentially favoring the greater of two evils. And so it is interesting to think that, yeah, we should basically accept that we might have to do evil things or terrible things if it ultimately is necessary for the greater good. And we might have to do things that offend people, that they think is like racist or something. But ultimately, it all comes down to what the greater good needs, what extinction needs. But yeah, my point is just simply that we should be prepared to do terrible things, essentially. Not because we want to, but because if that's the lesser of two evils, then it's preventing much worse things, right?
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, there's like a scenario, for example, the first world, for example, is now experiencing, or like not even the first world, like even the developing world now, or the countries that are most developed are experiencing the fastest, fertility rate declines. They're having the least amount of children, and the countries with like the most uneducated, the dumbest people are having the most children, for example. How do we combat that?
Yeah, I mean, ironically, if we took power today, we would absolutely be supporting human reproduction. We would be putting programs into place to increase human reproduction, right? We would want everyone to be reproducing, because the more humans we have, the less wild animal suffering there is, and the sooner we can do a proper extinction, because the fewer people you have, the harder it is to do a proper job, right? So the more people we have, the more scientists there will be, the faster our technology will progress, and the sooner we can do the most fast and thorough extinction possible.
But if we pro-extinctionists don't get in power now, what do you think is going to be who do you think we should be voting for? Because politics is the most pragmatic way to affect these policies.
No, so politics is the opposite of what we should be doing. Voting does effectively nothing, right? Your vote changes essentially nothing, makes no difference, whereas activism makes all the difference, right? So instead of just voting once every 4 years, which is, again, effectively does nothing, you should be doing activism every day, right? To get people together who are going to take action. And we're calling for people to be, again, prepared to take action, to do whatever is necessary for what is, the greater good, basically. And yeah, voting is essentially inaction, right? It's like the least action you can take, basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's truth to that. I agree. But do you think, for example, if you vote in the next election and the person you voted for decides to ban all AI research or like completely, regulate it to the point where there's no innovation, for example?
Yeah, the thing is, again, you might as well just forget about voting, right? Your vote is going to be completely useless compared to the majority and what they want. So you're not going to be able to change that. But you can do activism and actually start changing opinions by educating people, right? You putting a vote in a ballot that takes 10 minutes once every 4 years really does nothing, right? So doing activism, that does make a difference.
Yeah, you think, but do you think we should be doing activism towards a political goal or just not at all?
No. So we're specifically just doing extinctionism activism. Yeah. Anything else would distract away from that, essentially.
Yeah, I see. Okay, thank you for the answers.
All right, Lawnmower Man, thank you. And yeah, we do need people to join for extinction, right? This is the most important thing. This is what is needed for the entire universe, right? This is not some small secondary thing. This is the main mission, extinctionism, right? This is the main quest line, okay? This is the main quest, the main story. Everything else is just side quests. Okay, we've got loads of people in the queue. Let's see who's next. We've got Artemis Khan. We've got... How do you even pronounce that? You've got Sailor Mars. Let's get them on. Hello, how you doing?
Hi there. I'm from the comments section. I've been following you for a while, and like love the idea of extinction, do think that like we need access to euthanasia right now. Like I see all these like old people that are disabled and, you know, they just made to suffer. I'm like, I wish we had more access to euthanasia. Dogs have it, like humans need it. And I hope I have access to it when I'm 90 or 80, because I don't want to be out here, you know,
Oh my
old
God, yeah,
and
absolutely.
suffering. But I do have a question about capitalism, because I do think humans are inherently greedy and, you know, full of ego, and it's a survival mechanism. I will kill the other, take his, you know, resources for myself in order to survive. Like that's a caveman, you know, survival mechanism I think we have. But so I'm in the United States and we are in full on late stage capitalism. It's bullshit. It's sucking us dry. Like I am so against it. I don't think money is the root of evil. I think we are the root of evil. We make money are like the root of evil. So I'm like, I don't see how capitalism is working for us personally. So I just wanted to see, like, because I heard you talk about capitalism. So I just was one.
Yeah,
I
think the main problem is most people, you know, for them, the main problem is that if you do communism, people will stop working, right? The system will stop. People will not work. And even if people do work, there won't be any innovation. People won't have motivation to work harder, to, you know, come up with new ideas. You know, for example, right? When somebody gets an idea for a new business or a new invention, they're like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing, right? I can't wait to do this. I'm going to spend my whole life making this happen. Are they going to have that same motivation if there's no reward, right? Because under communism, essentially, there'd be no reason to do that, right? You wouldn't make any extra money from doing it. So there is a good argument that capitalism does work towards innovation. But yeah, it's a difficult balance. Look, I'm against it, right? I'm against all of the suffering that capitalism causes. But ultimately, we have to always think of it from the perspective of what does extinction need? So if it's going to benefit extinction, then that's more important than the suffering it causes, essentially.
Yeah, the problem, and yeah, I do agree. I think that the issue with the current society is I don't think we're capable of creating anything that's going to benefit humanity like as a whole with the current society. I think we're going to need eugenics or some kind of DNA.
Personally, I think forget capitalism, forget communism. I really do think that essentially the solution is just to have robots, right? Automate away the jobs, get rid of the jobs, let the robots do it. That's it, right? And look, people are already buying robots. This is not something in the future. This is happening already. People literally already have personal robots in their houses, cooking for them, washing for them, and even working for them.
The only way I see this world getting any better is if we start messing with people's DNAs and before birth, and we take out certain traits like greed, you know, violence, and we birth a new human. And then this new generation is going to be the one who comes up with this better system of like capitalism and actually use it for the good, not for what it's done. Because right now with the current, like the people that are alive right now on this planet are not, I just don't think that we do anything that our genetics are not letting us to, like, we're acting like wild animals. It's survival.
Right. I agree. But, you know, the pro-extinction movement has kind of evolved out of that, right? Mutated or evolved out of it to have better genetics. Because that's how evolution works. That's how mutations work, adaptations work. You do eventually get what you want. So we do kind of already have that. But you're right. It's very limited. There's not very many people. So it's not about, you know, starting over again with new genetics. It's just about improving what we've got, building up on what we have now, and yeah,
and
we can absolutely look at extinctionists, study their genetics, and try and recreate it essentially. So this is a good idea. So well said.
So if we can't do it, like we're not able to, we just euthanize, right? Like that's the plan B, right? Like plan A is to essentially try and fix what we have, come up with new people with better DNA, plan B is to euthanize, right? Is that kind of what you guys are is that
no. So better genetics would just be temporary, right? The thing is, there's no way to end all suffering without extinction. So as we're working towards the most vast and thorough, the most scientifically advanced extinction possible, we're going to have to keep existing while we work on it. And we should improve conditions, improve genetics in the meantime. And we may even have to, taking over the world as extinctionists, overthrowing society, that may involve genetics, right? We may have to reproduce, donate sperm, have thousands of kids in order to get enough people to take over the world. And we are already doing that. But I think essentially you're misunderstanding, because genetics can't solve suffering. So even if you improve your genetics, you still need to go extinct, right? Because it can't provide a guarantee of safety.
I agree. Well, thank you so much. I do agree. I see your point now. So got me thinking now. So thank you. I appreciate you. Have a good day.
Sailor Mars, have a good day to you as well. And great questions, absolutely fantastic questions. Good topic to think about. Yeah, really good topic. So these are important questions, and this is kind of the future of extinctionism as well. It's going to be massively involving genetics. Not just because, we want to replace people or anything, but because people do need better genetics anyway. Pula Nova is saying, is there a WhatsApp group? Yes, there is a WhatsApp group. There's also a Discord group, and the links to the WhatsApp group are on the website. So if you go on my profile, there's the link to the website. You can go on there, proextinction.com. If you scroll down to the bottom of the website, you'll find the link to the WhatsApp group, and you can join it. You can join the Discord, become an activist, start making videos. And go to Discord or WhatsApp, start asking questions if you have any. Hello, how you doing?
Hello. I'm good. So I got the idea. So you can, what if you explode everything?
We should leave it to science, right? So we shouldn't just say, what if we use a nuke? What if we use an explosion? No, we should use science.
Guess.
Yeah, exactly. So we scientifically determine what is the best way to do extinction.
All right. That's very good. That's it. I support you. Bye.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, we've got good life and happiness coming up next. This could be my arch nemesis joining the stream here with a name like that. No, he left. So I guess not. Okay, next we have Trinifix.
Yo, do you remember me from yesterday?
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunately, you followed me, so you can't hate me that much.
Yeah, what's up?
I just had a question. Do you hate your parents for giving birth to you, for bringing you into the world? If you hate suffering that much, do you hate your parents for bringing you here?
No, I understand that, they couldn't help it, basically.
But are they not the whole cause for your,
no,
suffering?
So it's not their fault, it's nature's fault, right? Nature programmed them to have children. So they didn't choose to do it, they were programmed to do it by nature.
So protection isn't a thing?
But again, they were programmed by nature to not care about protection, right?
Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, Trinix, thank you. Let's see, we've got Artemis Khan coming up next. Artemis, hello.
Hello. My friend here wants to join extinctionism, but he's he doesn't know what it is. So can you explain it to him?
Okay. It's about being a hero against suffering, right? So we are against all of the suffering in the world, and we won't stop until there is zero suffering, because that's the only right thing to do. Life shouldn't exist in unsafe conditions like this world, because the unlucky ones always end up suffering terribly, and even the lucky ones suffer terribly too. So life shouldn't exist without safety.
You're saying that because some people are unlucky and suffering a lot, even the happy ones should just die?
Well, it's about making sure that there's no more suffering for billions of more years, right? So yeah, and even the happy
But
ones,
at the same time,
even
you're
the happy
wiping
ones
out.
could suffer as well, right? So
At the same time, you're wiping out happiness for billions of years. Like,
yeah,
it's
but safety is more important.
Safety?
Yeah, safety.
You're dead. How could you care about safety?
Well, you don't have to care about safety to benefit from it.
What do you mean?
Do you
Safety from
disagree?
what?
Do you think that you have to care about safety to benefit from it?
Safety from what? I'm not. I don't understand.
Safety from suffering, right? Safety from all of the bad things that can happen, right? Safety from being trapped in a terrible life. Safety from, getting brain damage, chronic pain, anything, right? To where you'd be better off not existing.
Yeah, in that case, you can just say that the people that suffer, the people that fear safety, they themselves, they should be the only ones that die to get this insurance.
But that's not fair, right? You can't make them suffer and then, take their life as well, and then just keep letting that happen. And that's not a very safe system either, right? That system's just causes a lot of suffering, right? You're basically, and you can't really just go around euthanizing everyone anyway.
Wait, then how do you bring about extinction?
By just going around euthanizing everyone, basically.
That's what you just said. That's contradictory.
Yeah, but the thing is that you make sure there's no life, and then there's no suffering ever again, right? Your plan is to have life forever, and you just go around and how are you doing? Oh, we'll euthanize you. No, you look okay. We'll leave you today. I'll come back tomorrow. But that doesn't really work, right? That's not a foolproof system.
So you're saying like you end it all at once.
It doesn't have to be. No, I never said that. I never said that. It doesn't have to be all at once, but we do have to do it.
So little by little, you decrease population. It won't work like that.
Say again?
The majority of people won't let themselves be euthanized.
Yeah, but we have to try and find a way to do it anyway.
Did you euthanize yourself?
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, obviously not.
Then how can you preach about it? Like, I feel like it's admitted in your manifesto. Like,
are you seriously asking? Are you seriously asking if I'm alive? Basically, you're asking if I'm alive.
No, I'm just saying, like, shouldn't you lead by example? It should be like.
So, do you think that veterinarians who doctors for animals? Do you think that they should have to euthanize themselves before they euthanize any poorly animals?
Well, obviously not. The animal's dying.
Oh, right. So the veterinarians shouldn't lead by example then? Oh, that's interesting, isn't it?
He's not dying himself.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. No, what? It's not interesting.
Okay, Artemis, it sounds like you're very confused, okay? If you lead by example, then what you should do is activism, right? That's what I'm doing, leading by example. Unaliving yourself doesn't actually cause extinction, so that would be counterproductive. Hello, how you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good. I wanted to ask, why didn't you make the point that the happiness of other people, just like how do I put this? Like the happiness of others continues the suffering of the sufferers, I guess you could say. Why didn't you make that point?
I don't know. There's lots of different points you can make at any time, really. But yeah, good point, right?
I guess I would also want to add on that, for those who don't know, that just killing yourself would basically just destroy the whole movement, because it's about spreading the message, and I don't think people understand that the method of extinction is unclear yet.
Well, it would be euthanasia, basically, but yeah, I mean, the exact method is unclear, but yeah, I mean, it's just going to be euthanasia, so it doesn't need to be clearer than that, basically, really. But
yeah, well, I guess that's it. I don't know.
Yeah. thank you for coming up. Join our Discord. You know, you sound like you support extinction, so join the Discord, join the WhatsApp, become an activist, and yeah, you can start making those arguments yourself, right? Start making videos, maybe even debate people, and you can start engaging in those arguments as well. And I will watch your videos, I will cheer you on, I will give you advice if I can. Okay, moving on. We've got Good Life Happiness in the queue again. My arch nemesis coming up now. Hello.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, so are you a former Christian?
Atheist.
You're atheist now, but are you a former Christian?
No.
But what makes you so sure that after we die we do not recreate? Maybe our soul get created again by the higher power.
Well,
And
I've seen no reason to believe in any of that. So, yeah. In the same way that I don't believe in unicorns, I don't believe in an afterlife.
but you just said that you wanna delay the extinction because maybe there is aliens, maybe there is life in other galaxies. So if you believe in these things, then you may as well also believe in God and higher power.
No, because you see, we know that life exists on planets already. So it's not you don't need belief in order to consider aliens, right? And so, yeah, aliens will probably exist according to science, and they probably will be suffering just like animals on Earth according to science. So, yeah, we have every reason to believe that there's life on our planet. There's probably going to be life on other planets, but that's, you know, there's no God on Earth, so there's no reason to believe that there's a God on any other planet either.
So let's say there's people who believe in God and they don't want to be extinct. What are you going to do about them?
We would make them extinct.
So if they believe that they will go to hell after extinction, do you still believe that you're helping them?
Yeah. Because why would good Christians go to hell anyway?
So they believe that they're not good, they done some bad things, and they need some time to fix it. And you're doing that extinction.
Yeah, look, there's going to be loads of people believing loads of crazy things, but we can't just allow them to cause suffering just because they have a crazy belief, right?
I believe that your belief is crazy. What?
Okay.
So?
Fair enough.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, thank you.
We'll agree to disagree, but you know, we'll also agree to make you go extinct, even if you don't want to, right? That's the compassion of extinctionism. Even if you don't want to go extinct, we will compassionately make you go extinct, right? Animals don't want to go extinct. Humans, most humans don't want to go extinct. Some do, right? And some need it, obviously. So yeah, we will do it even if you don't want it, because essentially providing safety is the right thing to do. And if somebody says, no, I don't want to be safe, then we have to do it anyway, because they can't actually make that decision properly, right? They can't make a proper decision. They can't make an informed or rational decision. And so we have to do it for them, right? Humanity has been specifically prevented from being able to make rational or responsible decisions, especially regarding safety. So we have to do it for them, right? Because they genuinely cannot do it, right? So it's not about, oh, well, we should let them decide. It's they can't decide, right? They are quite literally incapable of making a correct decision here. So we have to make the correct decision for them. And if people were able to think correctly, then they would agree with extinction, because they would agree, yeah, safety is more important than a bit of frivolous fun. Okay, let's see. Right, nobody else in the queue at the minute. So I might take a break and then come back and stream a bit later. Or we could take some questions. Who made you the authority? Nobody, right? What gives us the authority is essentially intelligence. So people are always saying, like, who gave you permission to say this? Who gave you permission to think about this? It's like our brains did, right? Who are we going to ask for permission to do extinction? Like that wouldn't make any sense, right? You don't need authority to do extinction. Why would you? Now, in terms of, I mean, yeah, I guess you need some sort of authority, right? Which is why we have a movement, an organization which can provide that authority, right? So we can vet people, we can make those decisions, right? Should we allow this person into the movement or not? Are they crazy? Are they not crazy? So in that sense, we can say, right, we give you the authority to represent the movement. So yeah, I mean, I guess if you really want some authority, there it is. But ultimately, we don't need authority to do the right thing, right? Think about it this way. If you were on a desert island with an animal and it needed your help, are you going to say, well, I don't have the authority to help you, sorry. So these authority people are just crazy, basically. Okay. Do we have any more questions? So your solution to suffering is more suffering. Extinction doesn't cause more suffering, Peter. It actually immediately provides safety from suffering. So, getting put to sleep doesn't make you suffer. Yeah, it could go wrong for some people, for sure. But mostly, it doesn't make you suffer. And it provides you safety from suffering and from a way worse death as well, right? Would you rather get, tortured to death, suffer terribly with dementia or being eaten alive, or would you rather just be put to sleep, right? So extinction doesn't cause more suffering, it prevents suffering. James, what is a second alternative to extinctionism? I don't know. There is no alternative, basically. Life should not exist in unsafe conditions, so there is no alternative, really. You would essentially need magic as an alternative. It sounds like an authoritarian regime to me. It will be an authoritarian regime. That's exactly correct, right? Morality and safety should be provided by force, right? And it should be done in a way that, you don't get a choice, right? It will be done in an authoritarian way. It should be done that way, right? You shouldn't have a compromise on safety, right? Why wouldn't you want safety to be provided, as much as possible? James, should everyone have 5 kids to support the movement? The more kids, the better. Really. You're thinking as if the extinction is isolated, no one is affected. No, it's not about having Peter, why don't you come up on stage and say this to my face? Because you're obviously quite confused, right? But it's not about an isolated extinction. It's about the biggest, the least isolated extinction. So it sounds like you're saying, well, you do extinction, the survivors will suffer. Well, no, just make it so that there is no survivors. There will be no suffering, right? That should be obvious. Peter, hello.
Hi. Just one question. Like with extinction, you're talking about suffering being ended. Yeah. But then while you're doing that, there are people around the people that are being extinct. So how do you say that they're not affecting like other people around those people that are going extinct? I'm sure you've experienced grief and loss. Is that not a form of suffering? So you're trying to solve suffering by adding more suffering.
Yeah, exactly. But there's no other way to do it, right?
There is.
How?
There is a way to be able to handle suffering.
Really?
In the world.
Buddhism?
No. I'm not talking about religion. I'm actually an atheist.
Okay, good.
And a humanist.
So, you know, which God told you that you can end suffering without extinction?
Again, I'm an atheist.
Right, but to believe that there's a way to end suffering without extinction, you have to believe in, you know, God or religion or something, right?
No, you don't have to. A utopia is not created by a belief.
Okay, so how do you make suffering impossible without extinction?
No, suffering is a part of life. You trying to end it. You trying to end it. You trying to end it.
So you
You're
support
denying
child
the
abuse and
reality.
animal abuse continuing then?
No. You trying to end suffering totally is you denying the reality. What you should do
Denying
is
the reality. What reality?
the reality that life itself, as human beings, is accompanied by suffering. Like
Yeah, no, we know that, Peter. I'm not ignoring that. If you think that I'm ignorant to that fact, then you're completely ignorant yourself, right?
No, you talked about if I do.
Peter, do you really think that it's new information, like brand new information to me, that life involves suffering?
No, I know it's
not. Wow. Yeah, so obviously I already know that life involves suffering, which is why we need to get rid of it.
No, you can't.
Why not?
Because, again, you're trying to end something that is part of life, right?
So why can't you do that?
Because humans are random.
What do you mean?
You cannot control humanity.
How do you know? How do you know?
Because you're a human. To control a human, you must be yourself not human.
Well, you see, we are humanity 2.0. So we're like a subspecies, basically. So we are different to most humans.
Okay. Let me ask you a simple question. Do you know? Let me ask you a simple question. If you're superhuman, do you know where we came from as human beings?
Nature.
Nature. Okay, nature. Where did nature come from?
Nature.
Where did nature come from? I'm trying to travel to infinity,
existence, I guess.
And I'm trying to ask you, where did existence come from?
We don't know that it necessarily did come from somewhere. It may just, exist by itself.
Simple thing, we don't know.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
The simple thing is we don't know where we came from. We don't know what is out there. It's one question that was.
We do know that it's basically nature, though, right?
We do know it's nature, but we don't know where. In true matter,
does it matter where?
I think it does when you're suggesting that.
Why? Who does it matter to?
No, I think it matters because you're suggesting that extinction will end suffering. Like, to have that is to.
So do you think extinction won't end suffering?
It won't.
Why not?
It's because it's not pointing to the problem. It's actually pointing to a systemic issue. Like you think that.
So you really don't think that? So you genuinely, the way your brain works is that if there's no life, no suffering, it wouldn't end suffering. That's amazing. Like how does your brain work like that? You really think that if we do extinction, it wouldn't solve suffering?
Listen.
I just don't get how does the logic of your brain work?
The
right?
suffering will end to the one who is dead, not the things that remain.
But what would remain?
Any other than you, right?
So what don't you understand about total extinction? It means that there is nothing that remains.
Yeah, but that is because you're uncomfortable of the reality of suffering. That's why
Why should we be comfortable with child abuse and animal abuse?
Why you going to the extreme where there are moderate?
Because those extremes exist, right? So why are you comfortable with
any? Have you experienced any?
So what, I have to experience child abuse in order to be against child abuse?
I think you have to see the effect, because I feel like you're an outsider.
You think that we should ban advocating against child abuse unless you've experienced it yourself?
No. But then suggesting that extinction is.
So what about animal abuse? Should I become an animal?
Let me get it. Your ideology.
No. So do I have to become an animal in order to advocate against animal abuse, Peter? Is that your logic? So how do I do that? How do I become an animal, right? Because I want to advocate against animal suffering. So, hang on a minute. I'm already an animal, right? Humans are animals. So, okay, that's cleared. But if I want to advocate against child abuse, I have to become a child and get abused. Is that right, Peter?
No, I'm saying.
Wow!
I'm listening. Listen to this. Listen to this. I'm just saying, if your ideology and framework is made essential by you picking up the extremes, I don't really think it's
So
actually.
you think we should ignore the extremes?
No, I'm not saying you should. Two things can be.
That's exactly what you're saying. You're saying, oh, you shouldn't.
Two things can be true at the same time. Okay. Remember,
Okay.
I've not said that. That's
Right.
what.
Peter, I think we've reached the conclusion of that conversation. Really, you've clearly lost your mind completely. I would have continued that conversation if there was any substance left to it, but I think their brain had been hollowed out by the end of that. Okay, so we have nobody else in the queue. Let's get some more debates going, some more conversations, some more discussions. Join into the queue. Well, let's get you on the stage. Let's hear your opinions. James, how many more kids do you plan on having? Potentially infinite, right? Potentially infinite. Why start with animals? Well, animals suffer terribly. They can't help themselves. So, if you start with humans, then you can't move on to animals because only humans can do extinction. And animals suffer terribly. Most of them get eaten alive as babies. We should obviously prevent that from happening, right? Make it so that they don't have to be forced to be eaten alive, right? Nobody should have to go through that. James, do you believe in monogamy? No. Do you want kids, James? Why? I don't really massively want kids, but we do have to support human reproduction and the continuation of the species so that we can actually work towards the most vast and thorough extinction possible, right? The only fair way to do extinction. Hapa-chan, hello.
Hello. I have a question.
Sure. Yeah, if
you feel about suicide.
How do I feel about it?
Yeah.
Well, it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing that you have to suffer to get to that point and then have to do that. And we would encourage everyone, instead of doing that, to do activism to make sure that nobody has to commit suicide ever again, right? End all suffering with extinction instead of just your own suffering.
Well, yeah, I get that, but what happens if my life is so bad that I want to commit suicide?
Well, that's a shame. Do you want me to tell you what to do? I mean, look, I can't decide for everyone, right? It's a personal decision at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
But look, if you suffer terribly, it's understandable. But I think you should try and do activism first. Try and help others who can't help themselves, right? Think of those that need suicide or are going to need suicide in the future. We should try and prevent that, right? And animals can't help themselves. So we can help ourselves with suicide, but if you can help others, then you should, right? It will give you some purpose, a bit of meaning in your life as well, a reason to continue, essentially. But if your suffering is just so terrible that it's completely insane, then I think it's understandable.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Hapa-chan. What team do you support? James, what kind of troubles do you get with the movement? You talk to people about it in real life and they're like, what? Let's see what else. Do we have any more questions? Right, if you've got questions, now's your time. Now's the chance. Write them in the chat. James, do you believe in true love? Sure, why not? This man needs to be watched. Something is brewing. A cult. It's not a cult. It's a social justice movement. And I didn't start it. I'm just one activist of many. And yeah, it is brewing. We are growing globally. We have people from all around the planet. Kenya, Kazakhstan, Russia, all over Europe, India, America, right? So we've got, it's a global movement, basically, of activists, right? It's not cult members, right? We're not, I don't know, building a compound in order to do like a mass suicide or something. No, we're doing activism, right? We're educating the world. We're calling for peace, basically, and working towards a better system for everyone. So that's kind of the opposite of what a cult would do. Okay, let's see. Right, yeah, I'm going to take a break for a bit. Thank you, everyone. I'll probably be back in like an hour or so. Don't you think the 1% wouldn't allow extinction? Yeah, they won't allow extinction, and even the 99% of humans won't allow extinction, but we have to find a way to solve that problem, and we are working on it. Okay, yeah, I'll see you all in about an hour.